Hello, I'm Angel Feliz, and this is Data Science Learning Community. We are studying the book Outstanding User Interface with Shiny, and we are now exploring the chapter 21, Automate New Template Creation with Charpente. Basically, the learning objective is providing tools for translating HTML template into a package that help us you to document the underlying API, design unit tests, guarantee the code in the long run, uh, and also ensure a structure, that allow contribution, collaboration. That is the package way. This chapter is like at the end you will have a golden project basically that is a package, and that's the way that you need to think about it. What are the benefits of using charpente? Charpente is not really in heavy development. The function I have been running, they are still working, uh, but last commit was last year. That's something to take consideration. But for a development tool, it's not something to worry about, because if some function doesn't work, you will only need to do it manually, basically. It's not like a dependency that your Shiny app will depend on it and won't work. One of the functions it has is the HTML2R, similar to the Shiny app we saw before. You just use HTML2R, you pass the HTML code, and then you have the R code needed to create your HTML page. The first step to use this package is first to close the current project you are in. Normally, we are always in our project. So you close it, you are in your home page, and then you will run the create sharpen, and you create a folder name. We need to take consideration that it's for a package. So no, only points are allowed, upper and lower case, and maybe no a number at the end. But no, weird chat, there's no spaces, no underscores. Basically, those the things that we always want to use in no minus sign. It has a problem, this package, that you need to apply a license, otherwise it won't run. So take consideration that you can place mid license, and then you can use DevTools to modify that license. And you need to go and open that project. It will create you a description of the package. You will need to fulfill it, And the important thing here is you only have HTML tools, Shiny as a dependency. That's awesome, because basically Shiny depends on HTML tools. It's just Shiny. They're just making available so you can use HTML2 functions. And now it also creates an R file that is the name of your package. In this case, I place bootmap case. That is the the library, the CSS library that we're going to use in this example. It will create this function. It will give you the HTML dependency management at dependency that is really useful. We will see later how it can be used. Then it have functions to validate HTML, validate the width, that it should be between 1 and 12, for Bootstrap. Also, it have some CSS class. If you have certain elements in your tag, like type or class for a particular tag. Particular also class with matches. This is for validation. So it's like you place some value and it doesn't have that value, then it will throw an error. And that match is like, okay, you have a value and we give you true or false, and then you will have logic behind it. And find attribute that will help you find which the attribute that have a specific value. Which tab you have. Also, if you avoid repeating code, for example, have the equal functions that work just like the equals in ARM, just like if more secure for vector lengths. If you have different length your vector, you have some simple logic behind them. And also drop nuls. And as they just pasted as an R script, you don't have to add any dependencies, and you can use it as an internal functions in your package. And how we can install the dependencies? We need to go to JDeliver, that is our CDM, and find the correct repository where you are going to pick the data, and then use the create dependency function for the charpente to basically create a dependency function. You have always the create dependency and then add it to a function. They make this process, repetitive process for us. Basically, you have two alternatives. You can install the dependencies locally. That's the recommended way, unless you have too many dependencies. In this case, it's a lightweight dependency. It's just two files. And there have been minimized the minimal version of the CSS, the minimal version of the JavaScript in both cases. If you create dependency, just put the dependency in the tag, then you will have it locally, and you will have a dependencies function in this setting. Like, okay, the source is this folder in the instat folder of your package. When you have, let me see here. Now this is the book. I need to go back to the example I was running. When you are in a package and you build up, all the folders that are in the inst folder goes outside, basically. So it's pointed to this folder inside the inst. Okay, it goes to this folder. And for this folder, you will go to CSS, bootmap, CSS minimum. So it should have that CSS, and here's the CSS that he's pointing. Nothing magic behind it. And if you are using content delivery network, like the CDM, basically you are going to pick and download information every time someone goes to your website, your Shiny app, and basically do the same. Just like rather than referring to a local folder, you are pointing to a external source. And in the book, they are explaining that you can select the dependencies you are downloading using the local part in the sharpened options, but that function is not in that way. It doesn't have any argument, it just have local, and that's it. Maybe they are, thinking about taking it out because the source changed its rules and you don't have as many options as before, and you don't need it because like everything have a minimum file, and you are not selecting different files.
I was thinking about the CDN versus the local version. So while we are developing the app or this package, um, for us it makes difference as a developer if we are using the local version or the CDN. But for the end user who is using our app, they are going to download this anyways, whether we have developed it locally or we have used CDN. In both cases, they have to like download it, right? So do you think there is a difference in using the local version or the CDN?
They need to download, but to me, it's like the time to request is different because you have a request to get the whole Shiny app. And then after loading the Shiny app, you need to make this other request and then complete the Shiny app in my case, right? To
Yeah.
me, having the local file should be a little bit faster, but that's an
Mm.
assumption. I haven't tested. But what I know is that for the long-term ROM, if someone doesn't have internet, because maybe you have this package, you want to submit it to CRAM somehow, So basically, anything or your test uh, won't be able to run on CRAM because
Yeah.
CRAM doesn't test with the internet connection. Basically, they
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's a very good point.
and also for management, like if someone change, everybody knows that everybody is running the same code, the same
Mm,
dependencies. If someone downloads your project, he doesn't think about, oh, I need to point this, or maybe something changed in the future. Maybe this link doesn't work anymore, and you don't know.
mm, right.
You know,
Yeah, it
like
can change. Yeah.
yeah. So basically, the more for long-term purpose, having local is better. What's the problem? If you have many of them, the package file for CRAM, has a limit.
Mm,
And that's the point. You think, okay, this dependency is too big, it will make my package too big, then you will need to use the CDM. But it's better just to take it locally.
right.
Then you use HTML to ARM template. Basically, what you did is to the minimal page template that you find in the CSS example, basically, and just paste it here in an object, template HTML, and then it will translate everything. But we see, for example, things that we don't need. We don't need the link park because we are going to use the HTML dependencies, to add that when needed to the body. That because we are creating that in that way. Also, as the body can have different sections, like, okay, this is one section. This is the first section, but it can have more sections later. So they prefer don't add the section as part of the page. That's something that we need to take in consideration. Like, okay, we're going to create a function for the page, and it will be onto body. That's it. Everything that is related after body, then we need to grab it in another function. Because if you want to extend the app later, you will have a problem because you decided just to have one section. So at the end, after removing those both cases, we have this bootmap page simple function. We keep everything simple, relatively simple. You just need to delete and add the title here. You just change the title and add every element to the body. Done. And now you have your CSS. But what happens if you want to add some notifications, some JavaScript? Well, the Bootman project only has a CSS, but there is another project, Bootman.js, and you need to point to this repo, I think, and point to this version. It will also download Bootman.js, and here you have the point. Then you run the function create custom handler. I haven't run it. I need to load it. I think I will need to start it again. Oh, it's there. Perfect. I will say no, it doesn't exist. Directory. Let me just create it. It was supposed to create it. The folder he's asking, source JavaScript.
Since this is a package, wouldn't DevTools load all work?
Uh, no. The point is that he asking me create handler, and he asked me about this. And, okay, you cannot connect message. There's no files directory. He's looking for a file that we don't have, basically.
Mm,
When I create the project, he showed me an error message like, oh, we couldn't run this part. What I know about this for is that you paste your source JavaScript and then it will create a minimum version of that later, doing a process. I know that I thought Shiny has something like that, but well, it was supposed to create a function notification handler when you have basically send message, you need to apply your message here, and I didn't paste good this part, and also creates the JavaScript function
Mhm.
notification JS. I think in the source script, yeah, under the source script directory, and when you paste here, as we created a dependency before, we had this method notification, and show is just a toggle, to show and take out the notification. Also, you have tool for creating binding. So we have a create binding, and it will give you input box binding. When you can, as a template, you don't need to go and copy that skeleton over and over because the function already have it.
Mm.
And fine, output binding. Also have the create output binding for giving this JavaScript code. And here I think they would talk about the bundle. Yeah, build JavaScript, get dependencies. Here is the minimum version JS. Like you will have a folder. My package is already created here. You have go to ins, you have boom. It's empty, but after building JS, no, the book is here. After running this function, BJS, it will create a minimum version of your JavaScript code. Maybe I think you will need to have JavaScript created. Like, no, install Node.js, I think. Uh, but I'm not sure. I couldn't run this part to be sure about it. Provide charpente in the JS column. And at the end, after you have your dependencies, you just need to use the add dependencies that was part of the first R script that we created, and you have your body, and you use add the dependencies, Bulma and your package itself. As they are just having one Bulma and no Bulma JS, my understanding is that they modify the function, are Bulma dependencies. Yeah. I think they modify this function in order to provide the JavaScript and the CSS together. I think it just will be a script. Uh, script. And of course, moving, but that would be a little bit manual, like moving the JavaScript I download here as a bootmap.js, put it like here. So when it goes, if I have a JavaScript, for example, here, JavaScript bootmap.js. I
Right.
think they did something like that. And that's the way they could, yeah, just copy this, But I need to move the file because the file is here in JS. I think they just put it together in one folder. And create bootmap, the versions. And yeah, and basically that would be the chapter Those are the main tools they have.
I think we can see the exact code in the Shiny Bulma package. So I shared in the chat. You can see in the ends folder,
Okay,
you have the HTML dependency.
okay. Yeah, I'm loading this. Oh, that's weird that the GitHub this is slow. Okay, they have Bulma.js here as a separate folder. Then you have the one script for everything. Uh, jQuery UI, JS. Whoa, I have many things here. Let's see the page, what they have in the page. Bulma page, how they got add Bulma depends. They have their own function for
Yeah, it's much
uh,
more
yeah,
detailed
yeah, yeah,
than
yeah.
the chapter.
Yeah, it's not as simple. Um, let me see, I can find that function. Depths. Okay, here is the dependency. Okay, he's pointing to the CDM for Bulma CSS. Also here, both extension CSS, they're using the local ones. Yeah, he's pointing here. Oh, you can have both. I didn't know that you can have two sources, you know? I don't know,
Yeah,
it's just one, no, it's just one. It's just one. It's like package system.
system.file, yeah.
Yeah, pointing to the file package. Um, Interesting. Bulma.js. Oh wow, no, it's a really long code for dependency management.
Yeah.
Wow.
But Bulma
74
has
lines.
like nice components. I'm looking at its actual Bulma.io website, and it has nice components. I've never used it, but I think it is very useful. It's in the chat if you look at the CSS website. Yeah, if you go to bulma.io, that's the actual CSS
The
components.
source. No,
Yeah,
yeah, they are really great. Yeah, it doesn't Sastur, CSS, elements, it should like bots, button content. You should have some maybe bad example, delete bots, notification. Let's see notification.
yeah, it
Well,
looks very different from
yeah.
the default Shiny notification.
No, finally you have a template. Look, the buttons, they're great. This template is awesome also.
Yeah,
And yeah, and simple to implement because it's based on Bootstrap. And yeah, we have this documentation for interactive this case. But yeah, basically that would be the chapter. And yeah, I really like this option. And of course, we need to give more time to figure out the details behind it.
yeah,
Or maybe when you are, but I think this chapter is a really good guy to introduce you how to even just for adding the CSS and the
right.
page, it's a big thing. Even though you keep using the shiny elements, because now when he goes to the longest part of the chapter and the more challenging is when you all need to manage JavaScript.
Yeah, But we don't necessarily need JavaScript for all, like,
for everything. Yeah.
yeah,
But I think the handler, for example, is really easy to use. And, you know, you just still need to add too many things to add a handler.
yeah. There's so many nice Bootstrap 5 templates. I'm thinking to try this and see if we could just use the CSS and create a nice look. Because the default Shiny app look, even though BSLib is very great, it still has very uniform look between different apps. If you want to make a very unique look, I think it's better to use some kind of template. So it's worth trying this.
No, yeah, of course. And they have done all this work, adding all these elements.
Yeah.
Eh, yeah, I think we should use them, select input, sidebar, everything.
Yeah, unfortunately, there aren't any documentation examples. There's just one example. So I think maybe we could contribute some examples. I'll try it.
Yeah, you can, you are learning. Yeah,
Yeah.
because yeah, the documentation is not like that will have many options. I think it will be enough to try. And of course, you know that if you don't understand something, you can go to the Bullman,
Hmm.
basically,
Yeah.
and try to do it and try to understand how. But the end, everything is just HTML.
Right.
Everything here is just, delivering HTML somehow.
Right.
Even though, yeah, look, simple. Div, bots, article. That's it,
Yeah.
you know.
Hmm.
And here the Bulma bots media. It's not like if you go to the function, you will understand what is going on.
Yeah.
So I think maybe for someone that doesn't know anything about how Shiny works, yeah, I would be maybe aggressive to see, but at the end, this function is just using HTML2, you know, it has the alert, so the JavaScript is already in place. If you see boot alert session, okay, I know this. This just, an alert that they created for us. But yeah, I think rather than picking one, just using one can be faster and really useful. And at least having how it was developed, you know, allow us to understand a little bit how to debug and maybe even to contribute if we need it. So
Right.
maybe we are more open to pick dependencies that are not software maintained like this one, because if we go to the repo, I'm almost sure that it's not even, I think it's not even cram. It's not even in cram, so you just have
Yeah.
this development version. But I think we'll be just okay because it's just producing HTML.
Hmm.
Yeah, saying last year.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will go like you and just pick this template and try to understand how it works and read the dependency behind it. Yeah, I think it's a really good step and your China would look really different.
Right. I'll try it.
So yeah, I will stop